Today I'm going to share with you my process for writing poetry, and this process is pretty similar through any poem that I write. But I'm going to share one poem specifically, and I'm choosing this poem to share with you because it's the most recent one I've written that has gone through the entire process. So, for this poem, I wrote it after being in the middle of my journey with cancer. And so at the top here, I just have a little explanation of how I got the idea of the poem and where it came from. And it was just, it was something that just came to me. And that's kind of what happens a lot with the poems I write is if I'm just sitting and thinking, which I don't take the time to do nearly enough, if I'm just sitting and thinking, sometimes words start coming to me or a picture, and I'm like, oh, that would be a good poem, and I start writing. So, for my first draft of almost any poem, it looks like this. It's just a messed up, mashed up paragraph of run on sentences and disconnected ideas. But I find that if I don't have to worry about the structure, I can get more words out and clearer pictures. So that's what my first drafts usually look like. And then in my second draft, I start picking out parts and words that I like. Usually, how it goes is I start doing line breaks and then I take out chunks of words that I don't fit as well. In this draft, I also wrote some notes to myself. I tend to do that when I write so that I can keep going with the flow of what I'm thinking, but still remember ideas of things that I want to change or do differently. And in this case, I wanted to keep track of some of the symbolism that I had in the poem. And now to get these drafts to show you, I went back through my Google Doc to find the revisions that I made. So these aren't all of the revisions. I kind of compiled them a little just so you could see what my process is. But as you can see, I have fairly long lines. So I have some stanza breaks, but those are things that I continue to play around with as I write and revise. Sometimes I bold or highlight things that I want to change or come back to. Okay, so that was my second draft. And then I continue to read and rewrite and work through. And so some of the changes that I went back and found, I just make little changes here and there with how things are worded. Sometimes I change the line breaks and I keep going back over it and over it and over it. And this is a part of the process that probably takes the longest, and I really want to do my best to show and not tell. I don't want to show, or I don't want to say, oh, I'm scared. I want to show it. I don't want to say, it's stormy. I want to show the wind and the waves and the rain so that the reader can know it's stormy without me saying it. So I really strive for that imagery. My title is usually one of the hardest things to come up with, so I try to work on that as I go. And then here is my final draft. And I will put in a link of that final draft in case you are interested in reading it. Your process for writing a poem might be different, but that is my process for writing a poem.